Welcome to another Founder Wisdom podcast with Kate Maria Vinther with us today. Kate is a speaker, a motivational speaker that is. She's founder and partner at Lerta and the serial entrepreneur. We're going to have fun today discussing bold leadership, discussing performance, diversity, and personal development, and of course, startup survivability, which is an interesting term. This podcast is brought to you by podfire.com. That is my podcasting company. If you want to start a podcast, scale one, be invited to one. If you want to monetize podcasting, which is one of the most evergreen channel I have ever witnessed, you can hit me up at podfire.com or Charles Cormier on LinkedIn. Kate, welcome to the pod. Tell me a bit more about yourself and about Lerta.
Okay, perfect. Yes, well, actually, I've been a entrepreneur most of my life. I started my very first business when I was 24, but in the fashion business. And it was actually kind of interesting because I've been looking at other podcasts you did with other entrepreneurs, and there was another one saying you were asking this person about the timing of the year, but he would kind of answer how he was entering how he's somehow about personally state of mind when he entered different kind of businesses. And I think I was very inspired by that. So I would say, when I started my fashion business, I was I was not even finished design school, and I was extremely lucky. I mean, it was just pure luck, and I was not the one who was pushing and hustling and being professional and all these things as I kind of experience these days. It's totally other game. It's also totally other business that I have today. But back then, when I was a designer and actually doing business and living in different places in Europe, and also I took my business out to Central America to hit the North American and the South American market, which was a fantastic period of my life. So I've also been doing business and living in many countries and many different cultures, and it has been for me as an entrepreneur, you learn a lot about culture, and culture, this is actually the most important thing, I think. So, and after that, I just fast forward, because otherwise it's going to be a long night, and we only got 20 minutes. But after that, I founded an NGO, and that was if I have to speak about before, it was luck that I came into the fashion business. It was a really, I mean, I didn't do any hard I didn't have hard times, and I was so lucky with people around me and things like that. But with the NGO, there was more it was very with the background, the focus of why I would create this NGO, that was cause of needs, a heavy need from people who needed that what we were doing, social business. And I actually run that NGO for 11 years, and I closed it down, and I made Lerta. But everything, when I look back, and also, I have to say that Lerta, as somebody say in America, we say in Europe, we say Lerta. Lerta was now I'm if you look back at your life, you kind of and if you kind of reflect on why you did this and how you got in there, and it have been there have been very different focus on why I went from these very different ventures, from from fashion business into NGO, from NGO working with the big partnership EU finance project, and out there again and back to more commercial, but still we're working with now. Lerta is much about diversity and sustainability goals. And it's Lerta is a digital. It's also a very, very new thing I'm doing. It's a digital edtech platform empowering learning by leadership development and startup programs, and facilitating collaboration between startups and global industries. So it's totally another game, but it's exactly there where I want to be. So it's not that I have like, so I think that Lagerfeld, for if I have to speak for myself, it's really like something I wanted to do for me to be exactly where I wanted to be. It's super tough because I don't have so much, honestly, you asked me, you know, when we started to communicate, you asked me to be like, very honest, be ready to drop your strongest value bombs. Yeah, and I want to do that because that's also why we actually created our startup program, Longevity, because there's so much bullshit in this, you know, I mean, and sorry my language, but there's a lot of like, you know, the whole entrepreneurial world needs to be disrupted. And actually, our program is called Longevity. It's not like a, you know, I'm jumping a little bit, but in Europe and also in the States, well, they are the percentage is a little smaller, but in Europe now we are up on 90% of entrepreneurs, startups who do not make it. And that is like really, that is heavy for European innovation, I think. So we started to redesign our startup program for the 4th time, and now it's like focus on 5 of the biggest challenges that startup founders they have. And I tell you what, I've been so surprised because I'm not like very young. When I was starting my fashion business, I consider myself being like really know what to do, but it had been really, really tough because I went into the edtech business. Yeah. So this is like some of the story where I am right now. It's like, and right now we are actually going through the last phase of our programs to implement them on as 100% digital, and that's something else, because we have been designing and executing programs, you know, leadership programs and startup programs, like, but more like we did online, but not as like not 100% before. Okay, so this is like it have to making programs and training programs. I mean, we are talking human tech. This is a big challenge, and specifically for me, because I mean, I'm a designer, but I can see that I'm also in a new game, you know, learning and have to learn very, very fast about the whole edtech, you know, how we can make the best programs, how we can make the programs go 100% digital.
All right. And okay, so in one sentence, what do you do at Lerta?
It's like, if I have to be a little technical, it's like, it's a business model. There's like vertical and horizontal. The vertical part, this is that we only focus on 7 specific global industries. Okay. The horizontal part, this is our digital platform where we facilitate collaboration between startup founders and these specific 7 industries.
Yeah. Okay, and it's a non-profit, right?
No. That my venture before was a non-profit.
Right. Okay.
Not this one. This is very, very. This is a total commercial business.
Right. Okay.
I have to say also, you know, like 11 years in non-profit. I want to be very honest. It's like, you have to have a specific mindset there. And I'm an entrepreneur, and you know, dealing with bureaucracy, with like a. No, that, you know, I really had enough after 11 years.
I fully understand that. Yeah, I also think there's a problem that nonprofit world. I don't think nonprofit is as good at social startups. Yeah, you really need to push hard and be competitive, and sometimes take in order to give. That is at least my philosophy, and you need to align yourself with the greatest technology of our modern times, which is capitalism. The next big technology will be AI, that will completely revolutionize humanity. Okay, so who's your ideal customer persona when it comes to Lerta?
It's the global industries.
Which are?
Well, this is the why I mean, I have to tell you the story about this. When I was starting to be very curious about that was when I was up in Denmark. You know, I do a lot of research all the time, actually. And I do this is also something that I've thought a little, I've reflected about. I do a problem. I don't do things for just fun. You know, I do really things for solving the problem. I'm extremely good at seeing the problem, see where the value chain is not functioning. So when I was doing when I got the first result of you know, the numbers of percentages of entrepreneurs up in Denmark, and specifically female founders, it was like with Norway, Denmark was like on the very bottom. So I was like, hey, that's really, I got very curious, and I started also to make research out in you know, full Europe. And you know, the problem, because we are working with diversity, I was like very fast. I was just like thinking, that is really strange. Where are the women actually? And the women would put themselves very much into public institutions, you know, in health, in all things that have to do with health and taking care of, and all the what you call soft business. And I was like, then I got like very curious about where they were not, and I started to find out that these industries, this is the maritime, the mining, tech, automotive, logistic, and we have 7. And did I say automotive? So it was like, I kind of like found out and followed the figures for these 7 industries, which were, you know, with, if they have to reach, this is my honestly and very profound belief that if these 7 industries have to reach the sustainability goals, you need to have much more diversity, because people think different. Okay, men, women think different. Different culture will create impact. It will create more innovation. So I think it's very healthy to actually what can I say? I think the diversity is very healthy. So that's how we, like, little by little. I love to say that, because many also, when you work with technology, I mean, you can approach this business in a different way, but people have to understand, when you work with technology and you really want to go like very, I'm not saying very tech, because we are working with, like, our background, it's coaching, it's training programs for different kind of things, the ESGs, diversity, and also we have now the startup program, who's actually for training startup founders to be much better to survive. Okay, so let me see here. I think I lost the red threads. Please help me.
The red threads? What do you mean?
Yeah, I lost the red threads. I was kind of, I wanted to go somewhere, but
oh, do you mean like the conversation, right?
Yeah.
That's okay, that happens. You were talking about diversity, right? So
Yeah.
that is like some breadcrumbs. But my question is, you know, inclusivity, diversity, what's the net advantage in this capitalist world to include everyone and have diverse pieces of information enter your brain?
Are you talking about figures?
I'm talking about money, you know, the ROI of diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we actually made. I don't remember. I don't have the figures right here right now. But of course we have done our research and data work, and well, I mean, there's like if I have to diverse, you know, there's like data about does diversity actually does it pay off? Or does it not, or how much does it pay off, and etc. But the amount of data that it pays off is bigger than the amount of data that's saying it doesn't pay off. I'm not saying that, you know, talking about diversity, because I also want to say, honestly, I have been like building Lerta, I have been very focused on, for example, our advisory board. We have that was strategically developed from the start, because I wanted to. Now I remember what I wanted to say before. I'm just rolling it back now. I have this saying that when people, they ask me, why are you not already out there? This is because to build a tech digital platform, and it takes a long time. And I wanted to go like this. I wanted to build the foundation really, really, what can I say, very solid. And that takes a long time to build. I say that we build the infrastructure of our we build our ecosystem. No, I'm saying little by little we build our ecosystem of our infrastructure, and it takes a long time. Okay, you have to attract the right people. And perhaps, to give you a very low practical example, I was like, I knew I wanted to as the first thing, I wanted to create a advisory board. And it should be like high-level, C-level people from these 7 industries. Because when you have that was like the first, with that you actually have this is like a methods that I've used for a long time. You involve your potential customers, you involve your potential stakeholders, collaborators. And I did that with electing, asking these very fantastic people to join this advisory board, and they have helped me to develop this whole, the whole business model of Lerta. I get the very, intel. I will always call it intel, because I get something from them that I can't find. When you research, when you. I mean, some is out there, but also a lot of things it's not out there. This is something you get because we have created this very confidential room of when they meet, and these people are from they're from all these different global industries. They used to be extremely competitive. They would never very secret. They will never open up to the others, because they and when I say the others, I mean, of course, the other maybe competitors that they have. But little by little, I think that I hope so, and I think so, that with our style in collaboration style in like Lerta, we have like created like a that was actually my intention, that with our when I say style, I mean, of course, entrepreneurial style. You fight and you make mistakes. You make a lot of mistakes, and you fall. You raise yourself up again with dignity, even how many times you have been falling. So, and going to, that was actually also the background of bold leadership, if we have to talk about this.
Yeah, what is bold leadership?
Bold leadership, this is like, I was inspired to make I mean, we call it a content series, but it is a podcast. From the first, our first advisory board meeting this year, I would ask the advisory board, could you please come back? Because these global industries, they have, like, in the beginning of the year, they are like, there's a lot of conferences, talks and things like that going on all over the world, where they travel and they get they meet other people, they get new trends, they get information, and they find new collaborators. And I was asking them, because I was really curious about, okay, how can we kind of like how can we make this technology being humanized? Everybody was like, if you remember, not this year, but last year and last year again, I was attending a lot of conferences where I heard this all the time from very, very high level leaderships. Sorry. technology is going to save our lives. And I was like, technology is going to save our lives. I'm sorry. It is people. I mean, I'm talking from myself now. I got like, in my mind, I was thinking, yes, I totally fancy. There's so many fantastic things happening now, but it is human beings who is actually developing technology. No, so it's. I mean, so we can at least we can say, okay, if we have to use that phrase, human beings and technology is going to save our life. I can go with that. But so I was asking them, could you please come back? You know, I would like you to take some takeaways from all the, you know, the conferences everywhere you go, next couple of months or 3 months, and come back, you know, and kind of like, you know, let's have this as as the agenda for to the advisory board meeting. And suddenly, somebody of one of the advisory board, she would like crash the agenda, and they just started to talk about bold leadership. And I got really curious, because suddenly these people from these global industries, they were like talking about another kind of leadership, okay, another kind of person, more empathy, more that it's okay to show you as you are. It's not like you don't need to. You are a human being. There's actually several of these, many of these global industries. You see Maersk, you know, before they would ask their whole people in the industry to come with tie and suit and, you know, black clothes and very what can I say, very, very conservative. It's not like that any longer. And the same with the mindset, you know, you needed to show only professionalism, that you are a professional person, you are like, you keep your private life to yourself, and etc. And then I went on these many months, and I was like, I wanted to do something now. It was just like, you know, actually it was like bold leadership. It was like we wanted to try to do something, and just like some very I wanted to do it very simple, very low practical. It's not anything sophisticated. So bold leadership, which is already on, I don't know if you have seen a couple of them, but I invited 10 totally different C-level people from different, both from the industrial world, the global industrial world, but also from the entrepreneurial world. And I just posed the same 3 questions, and they are like, of course they answer with different from their own, you know, from their life, from their perspective. But it's like there's something interesting is happening. I mean, we already did 4 now. 2 is already out there. 2 more is coming out in next week. But I can already see a really nice and positive trend with how all leadership can actually change behavior and you know, being honest, you know, being like being more human and try to be more authentic. This is what the same way as you do, being authentic. Just say how it is. You know, I'm struggling here. I'm alone. I'm like, you know, people understand you better. And it was also like this. It was. You know, when I started Lagerfeld, I did not know anything, honestly, about these industries. Nothing at all. I could do a lot of study, I could follow them and etc. But when I started to call them to ask them if they would join the advisory board, they were like, my goodness, I was like, I was nervous. I was like, how do I approach these people? And I had like, you know, I'm talking in a specific way because, and my mind is like very, very entrepreneurial. So it was like kind of 2 different cultures meeting each other, and they were trying to understand. And also like, it was a very, very early time for Lagerfeld. It was not the idea. I mean, I was building this business. I was building the infrastructure. So I could like, it was even honestly difficult for me to say what actually was that I wanted to do. You know, did I have the 2 liners? No, I did not. So So I was trying as best as I could to make them understand the craziness that was, that was going on in my mind, where I wanted to go. And they started to say yes, actually. And it was so interesting, because by time now I hear them. And actually, I just had the fourth Bold Leadership podcast yesterday, and the person I that was there, he would actually start to talk about. He would talk in terms as an entrepreneur will talk, and now I mean, actually, it's one of our advisory board, and he have been collaborating with us. He have been involved in many maritime startups. So it was so wonderful for me to sit there and hear that he absolutely understood the culture, and it's going to be easier now when they start to understand our culture, the entrepreneurial culture, because they have been for years. They have been it had been very, very difficult for these two very different cultures to collaborate. Okay, so so the talking, the communication, involving, I believe, extremely a lot, involving from the very start, involve your target markets, your people in your business as much as you can. Even if you can't, even if you can't, maybe if it's not explainable, but try to do it anyway.
Right. Kate, where can people find out more about you?
We are on all platforms: LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. But they can start finding Lagertha, or maybe via my profile on LinkedIn.
Right. That was Charles Cormier and Kate Maria Vinther for another founderwisdompodcast.com.